Hi everyone and welcome back to our second ever episode here at Rugby for Days. We are three guys loving the sport of rugby, blogging about it, giving our opinions about it, and just overall like to discuss different types of plays, different types of teams, and so on. So in this episode, we are quickly going to talk to our newest member, the Jakkal, aka Jacques Kriel. Jacques, welcome to the episode. Quickly tell a bit about yourself.
Hello, my name is Jacques. I'm 23 years old. I'm currently a sport development coach for small children, and I'm looking to go on and do my psychology degree and also maybe go into sport therapy and sport psychology. And I just love rugby because it's for me a team sport, something everybody, which doesn't matter which shape and size, you can do the sport, and it's a team building sport. So I like rugby overall. I haven't played much in school, but I've always followed it since I can remember. I followed rugby. I followed the Blue Bulls since I was a kid. I'm a diehard Bulls fan, through thick and thin. So hopefully we can talk about some rugby stuff today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the introduction. As you guys can hear, I am the outvoted one, the only Stormer supporter representing Cape Town. The other two are, just diehard Blue Bull supporters. So I'm getting outvoted normally when we discuss rugby and who's the best. But anyway, so in this episode, we click on to jump into the coolest news we got in the last month, probably during this pandemic, and that is the New Zealand Aotearoa competition. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I am a South African, an Afrikaner, so please don't judge me for that. But that is quite exciting to know there's going to be 5 teams playing. Hopefully the broadcast networks will broadcast this type of competition worldwide for all those rugby lovers. But Jacques, let's get into it. Who do you think is going to stand out in this 5 teams in New Zealand, the New Zealand derbies? Who do you think is going to stand out?
Well, in the years that passed, the Crusaders has been a force in rugby. I don't think just in the southern hemisphere, but if you take the quality of players and the quality they play, you can match it with any team around the world. So I think they will be a standout team. The Highlanders have signed a couple of new players, which can also be of good effect to them. But I think one team that hasn't stood out so much in Super Rugby, but might be able to make a name for themselves again, is the Blues. They have signed Beauden Barrett in particular, someone that's a playmaker that can communicate with forwards and backs, just the speed, somebody with experience at number 10. So I think for me the Crusaders, the Highlanders and the Blues might be one of the teams that stand out in this New Zealand competition.
Yes, I agree. At the end of the day, I think it was Cody Taylor quoted, it was a quote from him this week, that he said that every time they play a New Zealand team, it's like a final. So the New Zealand derbies is like finals for them, and that's how they are mentally preparing themselves for the games to play. And there's not just one team that definitely can upset the other one. I think the Blues definitely have a better game player now since they signed Beauden Barrett. And I heard a crazy stat that he broke like the team record or the team, the club records on the first day of training with one of their drills, which is crazy.
Yes,
but I think with the signing of Milner Skudder for the Highlanders, that's going to be so exciting to watch him play again in New Zealand colours. Sam Whitelock is back from Japan, playing for the Crusaders in this time. Of course, Sam Kane, the new appointed All Blacks captain, leading the Chiefs side. So there's just so much to look forward to. And then, of course, with the Chiefs, you can't forget their fullback, Damian McKenzie. So It's going to just be
Yes.
overall so much excitement. While we are speaking about the New Zealand teams, what do you think about the restructuring that they are doing for the All Black side with Sam Cane as captain? What's your feeling about that?
For me personally, I think it might be a good call for them to put Sam Cane in the captain's position. I mean, he has been like in the shadow of the great Richie McCaw as a captain. He was under him. He was also under Kieran Reid in recent times, and also the fact that he captains his club, his domestic side, the Chiefs, gives him good experience as a captain. And I think because he's like a flanker, he can easily break away from the rucks or the scrums and get into the back line, so he can communicate with the backline players as well. I think someone like Sam Whitelock, who I suppose was also considered as captain, is more in the forwards role, but I think this new captaincy, I think, is a form of South African flavor, if I may say it like that, because there's a lot of leadership in that group already. So I don't think it's just Sam Cane being the captain. I think Sam Cane is like the focus point, but there's a lot of leaders in that group already, like the Barretts, like the Whitelocks, who can help him lead the pack. And it's not just being a captain on the field, it's being a captain off the field, being a leader on the field, giving your everything. So I think that's a good call for New Zealand Rugby to bring Sam Cane in as the new national captain.
Yes, definitely a high quality player, Sam Cane. Unfortunately, with the whole injury with his neck, and so it was quite hectic for him in his career. But very glad that he is that he got that news. And I think, of course, like you said, there are so much experienced players in that team. But that also begs the question with this new format of the Super Rugby Aotearoa, the competition, is New Zealand going to stretch their lead over the rest of the nations with this competition, because they have the time to play now. They can actually get onto the training ground, get into training, get into rugby fitness again, and just overall the experience level facing each other's teams. That also begs the question, when, let's say, for example, the Springbok team or the Springbok players can play again in South Africa, they would be at a disadvantage. So we'll have to see about that as well. But not getting off topic too much, what do you think about the whole rumors going on and all the speculation of New Zealand, ex-New Zealand and ex-Australian players trying to get South Africa out of the Super Rugby normal competition? What's your feeling about that?
For me personally, I see where they're coming from, because there's such a big difference in the time zones. Their fans struggle to support their teams when they play in South Africa or in Argentina. I've seen now today that Sam Cane and other players have also come forth to say they want a localized, like Australasian type of competition, and they want to go up in Asia and even Dubai. For me, I don't think it's a good idea, but I also think it is a good idea. For the New Zealand teams, they're just in a league of their own. So I think if they can get match fit and everything, it would be just an advantage for them. But if they go into the Northern Hemisphere, let's say Japan, maybe India, that has been up and coming in the rugby. Sri Lanka is also has a quite a few following of rugby. I think that's a good idea, being able to expose the game of rugby to nations that hasn't quite got it yet. It's focused more on other sports like cricket. But I understand. But I think also the Super Rugby is a Southern Hemisphere competition.
Yes.
So you will travel a long distance, but I think that's part of what makes it fun for me as a fan personally, to go to my local stadium and see a team from another country like the Crusaders or the Chiefs that play here in South Africa, to be able to see the way they play, because we don't always get to see the national team play, but we can see the domestic teams play in a way that we see New Zealand rugby, and we can just admire the type of plays they do. So I think it's a good and a bad thing. I think Rugby Australia will benefit more on the side of being able to play on that side of the world. But I think for me as a fan personally, I would like to see the New Zealand and Australian teams still going around the Southern Hemisphere. Yes, it's tiring, but that's a professional job now. You must be able to travel and to still perform, and I just feel like trying to make excuses for not traveling. And yes, it's the fans, and yes, I get that it's money coming in and money going out, but yeah, I would just like to see the format stay more or less the same. Maybe not so much games, maybe the pools might get changed or whatever, but for me, I would like to see the Super Rugby format stay the way it is now.
Yes, I think it's very mixed emotions at the moment, but I understand that Australia is trying to side with New Zealand on this, because come on, let's be quite frank. It is at the moment, on Super Rugby terms, if I really need to be honest, it is New Zealand based teams, then South African based teams, then Australia, and then lastly Argentina. That is basically how they are ranked. If you don't agree with me, please comment, then we can discuss it as well. But that is what the type is at the moment, the ranking. And to get South Africa out and get Australia to compete against New Zealand-based sides every weekend would be tremendous for their rugby development for Australia.
Yeah.
Because let's go back to the 91 and the 99 and the 2003 Wallabies. I mean, those were the days with George Gregan and John Eales and players like that. And if you compare them to today, it's not that they have bad players. It's just some reasons they can't fit as a team. They're not the best team. They're individual players that is playing well at Super Rugby level. But again, also not dominating. We should also remember this. They're not dominating. And if this whole pandemic didn't happen, maybe the Sharks would be the team this year to dominate the way that, for example, the Jaguars did last year or the year before. You know, that one team just came out, played well as a team, and started dominating. And that could have happened. So it's going to be very exciting to see what's going to transpire in the next couple of weeks. I think it's very mixed emotions because of the whole pandemic, and they can't play at the moment. I'm very glad that we are going to see rugby again. We are going to see literally international stars, All Blacks, playing against each other. It would be very awesome to see as a fan and a rugby fan, most of all. And I'm very excited to see what is going to happen. But if there would be a move that they move South Africa out of a Super Rugby competition and still retain Australia in a New Zealand type of conference, I think that would benefit Australia definitely more than New Zealand. Definitely. Because New Zealand's going to trample them every weekend, and Australia's just going to get better. Because you can only get better if you're playing the opposite team that's better. That is the only way. So you're not going to get better when you play a declining team. But anyway, this is such a cool time spending with you, Jacques. I'm so glad that we can do this even in this time, that we can't visit each other here in South Africa. It's still very on the lockdown side of things, so we just can't get in the car and drive around. But thank you so much for joining me for this session, and thank you so much for listening into our podcast series. We are trying to do this every week, getting out some content for you guys, and really just getting a discussion going. Please don't forget to go and check out our blogs at rugby4days.com, or even our YouTube channel, Rugby for Days. That is our primary name, and then of course all the social channels like Facebook, Twitter, and so on. But that's all from our side. Jacques, I'll have the last word. You can send us off.
Okay, thank you, Stefan, for having me. I like these discussions that we can have. Hopefully some people comment so we can start a conversation. Maybe it's a new podcast we can do. So if everybody can just maybe, yes, leave your comments, leave your opinions, and we will be sure to start a new conversation. And let's see how this Aotearoa pans out. Maybe it's a brilliant idea. Maybe it's just a hit and miss. But let's see how everything goes. So thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys.